so I wrote this book, The Four Pivots, really to myself, y'all. I didn't write it for everyone. I wrote this book for myself. I'm familiar with writing academic work, and I'm familiar with writing research papers, and I'm used to writing about policy work, but I never wrote a book from my soul. And I wrote this book so that I could feel better and have a sense of purpose of what is important in trying to create the changes in our lives and the changes in our communities that we need. And in my journey, y'all, the work that I've been doing for most of my career, I have learned that the most significant change that we make is actually an inside journey. It's an inside job. And that while we need to continue to fight and push and change the conditions of our communities, there's work we need to do inside. Some of the work that I've done over the past, I've lost friends, I've lost because they didn't rest. I've lost colleagues because we didn't give them the permission to do the self-reflection about who they need to become. And so I came to a point in my life where I began to question and think differently about what is really required to create the kind of changes in our lives and the changes in our communities that we all deserve. And so the book is called The Four Pivots, and as we know all the reasons why we need to pivot. And I'm not going to go over all the reasons we need to pivot because we know that society is changing before our eyes. And my own work focuses mostly on young people, but we know from research, we know from all the issues that are facing us is that we are actually becoming numb to some of the most inhumane conditions and treatment of our communities that we have seen. This society is fragile and ripping apart. Our democracy right now is very fragile. And it is not so much that we need to strengthen the Democratic Party or strengthen the Republican Party. We need human transformation. Because without that, we are headed towards something that we haven't seen before. And so this is the condition that we're in. And everyone in here knows, everyone in here has been through something. An illness, separation, divorce, loss of a job. Everyone has been through something. And that sometimes that issue, the thing that we're navigating, I know how my daddy taught me. My daddy was like, man, just suck it up. Just bury it. Don't cry. Don't be vulnerable. Tough it up. Get through it. And so the issues that I experienced in my life, my daddy would always whisper to me, don't talk about it. Don't share the story with no one else. One night, I'm going off script, y'all, so y'all have to excuse me. I'm going off script. One night I woke up in a sweat because I couldn't sleep. And I came into my living room and something came over me where I just began to wail, not cry, not sniffle, but wail, cry from my soul, y'all, because I couldn't do it no more. I couldn't raise $1 million a year for the nonprofit. I couldn't work with the young people. I was writing a dissertation trying to get through graduate school, and I had a 6-month-old baby at the time, and we had just bought a house, and I couldn't make the mortgage, and I couldn't deal with it no more. And my wife came and, she said, what's wrong with me? And I said, I don't know what's going on. And part of me, right, I heard this whisper, this tough baritone voice said, man, suck it up, get your butt up, and get back to sleep. And the other voice said, it's okay, man, it's okay. And it was in that dialogue where I realized that, man, if I'm going through this, other folks might have the same experience. Right? Everybody might have the same experience. And so this book I wrote as a really personal testimony to what I believe is necessary for us to engage in some of the most significant changes. We're really trying to all solve the wrong problems. And that is, sometimes I think what we do is we focus on the surface issues that are facing us. All right, so most of us focus on the top of the iceberg. That is events, the thing that happened. And then we respond to that. But if we go a little bit below the surface, we can ask, what have been the patterns and trends over time? Like, what has caused this event to happen? But if we go even further beneath that, we can look at the structures, the policies, the things that are in our organizations and that actually create the patterns that create the events. But the real magic is, the real transformation happens when we go to the very bottom of the iceberg, and that's how we think. That's our beliefs. Those are the core values about what we hold that actually produce the structures that shape the patterns that actually create the events. So how do we then go to the bottom of the iceberg? And so this book is more of an ethical and moral compass for us, to think not about only what's external to the changes that we need to make, but internal about the changes that we need to grapple with in our own lives.